in this business, this happens frequently. Joe McGinniss was supposed to be on with us. Don't know what happened, but I need to discuss this book because I've read this book, and I think it's a travesty. I think McGinniss is a good author. I mean, he's written other books I think that were pretty good. This one, I have no idea other than the fact that he's got an axe to grind, as many people do, against Sarah Palin, the book The Rogue, Searching for the Real Sarah Palin. In this book, McGinniss cites the National Enquirer as a source for much of what he writes. The National Enquirer. He calls Sarah Palin throughout this book a nitwit, a lap dancer, a bad mother, and a nutcase. So this is obviously not a book that was written because he's a big fan of Sarah Palin. Also suggesting, and it looks like we've got Joe right now. Let's go bring Joe McGinniss on. Joe, welcome to Houston's Morning News.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Sure. Well, let me just pick it up where I was. You've written the book, The Rogue, Searching for the Real Sarah Palin. And Joe, I think you're a good author. I really do. I've read some of your other books. I really liked them. But this one, obviously, you've got an axe to grind against Palin. And I'm just curious as to what possessed you to move next door to her and write such a hate-filled book.
Well, I would quarrel with the description of hate-filled. It can be highly critical, but not hate-filled.
Well, Joe, you call her a nitwit, a lap dancer, a bad mother, a nutcase. You suggest that her son isn't hers. What would you call that?
I would call that investigative reporting.
Really? And you get your facts from the National Enquirer?
When she was running for vice president, she was the most unqualified candidate for national office in American political history. Nobody made any attempt to find out what was behind this bright, cheerful, chipper mask that she wore.
And what did you find?
What
did you find, Joe? Give us something that you found that is absolutely fact.
Well, everything in the book is absolutely fact. So I found that yes, she was a neglectful mother. I found that she has.
What do you base that on, Joe?
Because of her reaction to my moving in next door, I found that she tends toward hysteria when under stress. She started.
How was she a neglectful mother?
She was a neglectful mother, as the book points out, because she didn't even take care to see that her children were properly fed when her husband was up there working on the North Slope. Many people, who were in the schools with the Palin children, who were constantly getting in trouble in school, and every week or month, Todd and Sarah would be called in because of a new disciplinary
Who did you get this information from, Joe? I mean, you make these accusations, but you don't really back it up with anything other than you check the National Enquirer. You even had an email that went to a friend of yours that said that you're a little afraid that the legal department in your publishing house is going to find that you don't have a lot of facts to back these things up. Well,
I have more than 60 named sources in the book.
Well, tell me who they are, Joe.
Excuse me?
Who, the National Enquirer was one that you've cited many times.
No. Do you want to go through the book page by page, and I'll point out the names of everybody who I interviewed? Let me say this. In a handful of cases, people said they would talk to me only if I guaranteed confidentiality because they were literally afraid for their lives or their livelihoods. The Palins have a long record of retribution, of vengeance against people who they think crossed them. A lot of people are very much afraid of Todd and Sarah Palin. I was shocked by the atmosphere of fear. Wasilla was like North Korea. People walked around looking over their shoulders. I had people cover up their license plates before they would even drive up my driveway.
Joe, maybe it was because, Joe, of all the paparazzi that you brought into that neighborhood, people driving in and out of that neighborhood, they don't want to be a part of this. Listen, Joe, you're a good author. I mean, you're a guy that has a great talent. What is it about Sarah Palin that really grinds your gears? Because listen, you and I both know that this is not your best work. This is a salacious piece of nonsense that you put out there, and I don't understand why a guy with your talent would do such a thing.
Well, it's actually not a salacious piece of nonsense. If you took all the stuff that you would call salacious and put it together in the book, that would add up to maybe 3 pages in a 320-page book. The book goes very deeply into Sarah's public record as mayor, into her campaign for lieutenant governor, into her administration when she was governor. I can't help it if guys like you want to focus only on 2 or 3 things that you think are salacious. That's
two or three. Hang on. You're talking. You said her husband had sex with other women, flirted with other women, that she had affairs, that Track was a druggie, that Trigg, her son with a handicap with Downs, is not even her natural-born child. Are you kidding me with this? I mean, honestly.
Let's try to separate those things. Chapter 19 deals very carefully with the questions that still remain about her story of giving birth to Trigg. The story she tells about being in Dallas, having her water break, taking this wild ride on 2 different airplanes, all the way back to this little hospital in Wasilla that doesn't even have an intensive neonatal care unit. At best, if you believe everything in that story, she recklessly endangered the life of her unborn child. That's not being a good mother, in my view. And there are many, many people who, for very valid reasons, say that the story she tells just can't be true. I present what she said. I present. You
present. Joe, I got to run because you called me a little bit late, but I want to thank you for coming on with us here on Houston's Morning News. Thank you very much. You present.
Alrighty, take care.
All right. You present suppositions from people that are making wild accusations, and you print them in a book, and you want to pass it off as truth. It is interesting to me that, I just would wonder what any of us would do if somebody did the exact same thing. But it's certainly your call. The book is out there. It's called The Rogue, The Real Sarah Palin.